Namaste, beloveds. This is Belinda Pearl, and welcome to your weekly cosmic oracular insights and inspirations and updates of where we are and what is going on. I was just thinking for a moment before I started, what are we going through? What is happening for us? What are we in time and space? And the one thing that keeps reoccurring is this piece of us heading into Mercury Retrograde, and everyone has this idea of what Mercury brings, and Mercury does bring those things that we think it does. I've definitely, during this pre-shadow period, been noticing a lot of like electronics, technical things, even like basic technological things, like, you know, like a drain plug type of thing, like super basic things, and then obviously like electrical things too, like being a little in discordance with me or with the environment or with the energy that's going on. So I'm noticing that. I'm also noticing this mental game that is happening in many heads, especially overthinking of thoughts, especially negative thinking is one of the things that seems to be keep coming up, that people are tripping over. People are having almost like these electrical fits, if you will. They just too much anxiety about what's happening. I've also been noticing, like today, I woke up with a headache, so the sort of my head is in this weird space a little, like it's like a bubble, electricity is moving on. Even the guidance that's coming through too, it's about finding a better perspective, a better way of using our minds, realizing how powerful our minds are and how that really helps us to stand into our purpose and why we are here. I'm also noticing like a changing of the gates of things that are a little bit different, like new opportunities are coming through in a different way, things that haven't been expected. I don't know if you're noticing that. If there are things that you're noticing that are similar to the things that I'm sharing, just leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from your side too. What are you experiencing? What are you hearing? What's coming up for us? We are going through this as a collective, so it's not just an individual thing, though we do have individual work to do as well. So this is very, very important. Mercury heads retrograde, or stations retrograde on the 13th, the 13 being this number of divine feminine aspect too. So there's this piece that we've been watching the stories in astrology, and the astrology has been showing us that the divine feminine is rising. So how is that rising inside of you? What is wanting to come forward? What part of yourself, your shadow self, have you locked away and is wanting to be birthed? So there's a piece that wants you to connect a little bit deeper to a spiritual side within inside of you. That's something like a realm that you've never really truly discovered. It's really connected to this invisible realm too. And that in this part of our global human personal individual healing is the dark part of our shadow that we feel intensely is helping us rip apart, so we can actually go through these gateways of trying to understand ourselves even better than what we have been doing. And this is guidance that is just flowing through. So let us see, let's take a moment here to close our eyes. And I've been really enjoying playing with these two new decks that I received. So they've been very crystal clear. Earlier on I was sharing too, I think it's Neptune and Pisces that is creating this energy. I've been noticing that my gifts are almost like weird, like it's super weird. Like I just think about anything, literally. It's not just about anything, but I have these signals that come in, and lo and behold, there's the like manifestation of whatever I was thinking about in everything that I thought it was to be, which is weird when I say that, but my psychic abilities, if you will, seem extremely heightened. So does my intuitive and dream states as well seem extremely heightened. So I don't know if you're noticing that. If you are, let me know too below in the comments. So let's see, what has guidance for us? Let us forget everything that we've thought about to this point, and let ourselves be a completely open window to allow guidance to come through. Let us see what is right for you and right for me. The dragonfly spirit, and it says truth transcends illusion. and it's 22. So there's this power in those double numbers. 20 or 2 in itself is finding this inner balance. There's also duality inside of ourselves. There's also a polarization of what we feel from what we wish to be, like a dichotomy, what we wish to be and what we are thinking we're experiencing too. But the 2-2 also reminds me of being in faith and trust. And this word that came up earlier on was courage. I pulled from a different deck earlier on, and it was about courage too. And I saw this way that we see the world, that the way we sometimes see the world is this delusion. So it says here, truth transcends illusion. So it's like really tapping into the bigger picture, especially how we look at the world right now. What are you assigning your mind to? What story are you believing? Can you step back from that story of where your ego is involved in it and your me, must, do, my way type of thing, and step into a different realm just for a moment? Like almost step out of the storyline. Have you ever been able to do that, where you can actually be in a space, but then like almost step back out of it, so you're not really like lost in it, but you witnessing, observing it? And I've done this before, where I've been like at a music event and almost like just stopped and looked around, and everybody was kind of jiggling and dancing, but it was like I couldn't hear the music. It was like the music was gone, and I was just watching people like kind of moving their bodies in this strange way. And it was really interesting to observe that, and how people were, you know, gathering in groups or walking with intention to do something wherever they were moving to. So it's this like lost in this play. Where are we lost in the play? Are we not allowing this true divine truth to come through? And they're reminding me of truth here too. So this dragonfly always invites this place also of imagination too. So really connecting to that true self within you. And this dragonfly is like ascending, it's going upwards. So this place of our personal ascension through our trust and our faith. And it's coming out of a flower. It's almost like being emerging, blossoming. Sometimes we think of the divine feminine in an aspect that is a sensual being, but at some stages she has to come out in this forcefulness, in this like, if you look at an example, like say like a dragonfly to a butterfly, like the dragonfly seems like a lot more like reptilian, if you will, not really the right description, versus a butterfly looks a lot more like elegant and soft. But when you look at a dragonfly again, at the shape of the leaves, I like that, the shape of the leaves, the wings and the patterns on the wings, it's this beautiful perfection. Like each pattern, each little window is so marvelous in its own way, in its body, that it shines in such a different way. Its beauty is different. But this is with the divine feminine, there's this aspect that wants to rise. It doesn't seem so elegantly beautiful. She has this like armor on about her, and this is what's rising inside of us, this truth that really wants to come through. It's almost like that warrior energy that walks down the street with the placards. So let us see what happens with that energy too. So have faith and trust as we go through this phase. I'm going to choose from a different deck just to see how this energy plays out, if you will, how it complements each other as well. It's important to see how the story unfolds and not just keep one idea, the one perceived point that's in front of us. Let us look a little bit further, higher from the storyline, from where we are, from that observer's perch. Let's take a breath in, breathe out, and see what divinity has in store for us. And this card has come through too. And so I just said faith and trust, and the bottom of this card says trust. And it's the same thing I actually read in the book about this card, because I pulled this out and I was looking at it for myself. And it's about being in the desert, and that the desert can feel quite harsh when we're lost in the desert. We feel lost in the desert. But in the desert, the same thing as the butterfly that I was saying earlier on, it's like it seems harsh, but then like at this time at night, it seems like such beauty to, you know, sort of really, truly embrace. And also, you know, the sand's not quite here like in San Diego, but there are places like that too. But it reminds me of that, because we like the desert with the ocean. And there's a palm tree that's there too. So there's a gift that's coming in. There's a boat that's sailing in. And we're moving towards a new moon too as well. So there's this interesting thing that maybe there's a gift that will be given to you as we sail into this new energy, because the new moon is this newness. But maybe it's this time just before the moon completely disappears. There's one last slither of light for you to see what it is on your plight that's going to bring you to that purposeful flight, like how this comes out. So we are sailing on this ocean that seems rather calm. So even though the things around us may seem like a desert, and during the day, if you will, it seems extremely hot, that we can't live in this space, but there's an offering that wants to come through. So it's maybe our perception of how we perceive the world around us, this gifting of this beauty that wants to rise, that is something unexpected too, but it's something beyond the delusion that we hold, or our illusions that we're holding. It's something new to be seen, but it's that moment where before we go into that rebirthing state, it's like, what is it that you want to bring with you? What's your last plight? I'm going to take another card and just see what that has for us. I'm going to take from a completely different deck, angel deck, and see what the angels have to offer. And I know the angels wanted to come in because today somebody very special to me said that on the weekend she pulled angel cards, and then the one card that she pulled, which was looking for an answer, was completely blank. So imagine that story, how that plays out. So the angels want to come through. And I saw this early on too, actually, with the angels surrounding people. Just amazing. That was this morning. Angels showing up here to support us in everything that we do. Take a deep breath in. Full breath out. It says God is a strength. So that card that was earlier on that I saw was very similar to that, like courage, strength. It's that we have the strength that we need, that faith and trust. It says, stand up for what you believe and you will gain respect for holding your ground. Remember saying about placards, like walking through the street, like not quite that protesting, but like almost claiming your right, claiming your truth. Doesn't matter what we've experienced in the past. Everything is here to teach us to move forward into our growth. So this time of claiming your strength, be in that place of faith and trust. Trust in the process, no matter what it feels like on the inside or outside. The medicine that you can do for you is take care of yourself, is to come to my yoga nidra class, or come to my yoga class, or come to my breathwork class and my self-care class, and take care of yourself. This is what we do to really anchor in the light that we here to birth and to carry. And also this idea of the divine feminine. This is a feminine aspect here too. So this feminine that is rising from this flower that is blossoming. Mother Earth is ascending, so we are part of this blossoming. This is the truth. Like, this is the truth, not the illusion that we are forced to see. See beyond the illusion. Rise into your own personal perfect strength. Hopefully that makes some sense. So, from my heart to yours, may you always be blessed. Namaste. And again, this is Belinda Pearl, and you can always find me at belindapearl.com. I look forward to seeing you. Make sure you leave a comment below, subscribe, and do all that good stuff. Again, from my heart to yours, may you always be gloriously blessed. Namaste.